do my usual diligence where I have to post this stuff online. I just want to make sure that it is going at the moment, and indeed
I have to
it is.
post this stuff online. I just want to make sure that
it sounds like me.
Going at.
All right. Okay. So today I'm getting a little bit of a late start, so I think I'm going to do a little bit of long tone work for you today. Slightly shortened version of my usual long tones, but I haven't had the chance to get on my horn prior to now because I have a 7-year-old. And sometimes he's a pain in the ass in the morning. I mean, but truthfully, so am I, so I can't really criticize too much. So, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do to get started. See what my reed does? Excuse me. Okay, it vibrates. So, just slightly a little weird, but vibrates fine. So, I start every day goofing around the shortest part of my clarinet. Okay, so as you add fingers, here's how long. If you blow through the clarinet through the first note that you could play, which is a note without any fingers, open G. It's kind of the first note that you learn how to play on the clarinet. When you play that, the tube of the instrument is this long. Actually, this long. So you're looking at about blowing at about a foot of tube here, as opposed to when you play the long clarinet, you play the low E, the tube is this long. So every time you lift a finger, you make the tube that you're actually blowing through shorter and shorter and shorter. And that subtracts resistance. So I try to start my day dealing with almost no resistance. I call this surrounding the G. I just play an open G, and then I surround it with half steps on either side, F sharp and A flat. And I'm just trying to get a really careful, solid, but gentle airstream through the instrument. Just really like the lightest hamstring stretch if you were going to run. Now, even though that's quite simple, it's really easy to get breaks in between notes, or that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for an absolute smooth legato, as though the note is not changing at all. It's just the same note. Let's surround it by whole steps now, F and A. Normally I would do 2 breaths of those, but today I'm just going to do 1 because I got to get through this. In between these iterations, I like to use this. This is called a spirometer, and it measures your breath. This one is a pretty big one. It goes up to 5 liters, which I get to on a pretty good day. If I just suck really hard, I could probably get there, but that's not really how you use it. But if I were to just inhale as hard as I could, then I can peg it. That's not how you use this. If you notice, I know this is all backwards for you. Actually, it looks, well, maybe not. Good, better, best. Okay? And it takes, you have to pull slower with each one of these. So I pegged it going as hard as I can. Now let me put it on the good. Let me put it on the top one here and see if I can get a nice, okay, nice, how well I can peg this. So it's harder to get, I can't peg it going slower. So let me go better. Each time I do this, it allows me to fill up my belly here. Okay, let me do this again. So I'm going to try to hit this middle part better. So I can peg 5 liters when I'm breathing in hard and 4 liters when I'm breathing in slowly. So let's see if we can shrink that gap a little bit as we keep going. Now I'm going to surround my G with minor thirds on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to go open G, E, open G, B flat. Now I'm using resonance fingering. So for G sharp, I use 3, 1, 3 in the E flat key. For A, I use 3, 2, 3 in the E flat key. For B flat, I use 3, 3 in the C key, not the E flat key. So the difference is it's subtle, but it does 2 things. It lowers the pitch and adds a little bit of resistance. We talked about when you're playing an open G, your tube is only about this big. When you're playing a B flat, your tube is this long. You're blowing through like 7 inches of horn. That's no resistance at all. So you have to add a little bit. Okay? It's more difficult than you think to just be warmly neutral with your breath the whole time. But it's a really nice way to just start to get some air going through your horn. Then I would usually add another one. So I'm going to add a different one today. I'm going to do some 12ths, but I'm going to add a little chromatic action to them. I'm going to start on my lowest note. I'm going to do a little 3-note chromatic pattern. I'm going to hit the register key and then go up another 3-note register pattern. You'll see. I'm practicing my 12ths. Here we go. Next note, F. going to keep going with this. This does a couple of things. One, you have to listen to your tone in two separate registers of your instrument. And two, when you get that 12th, you want to squeeze the register key like a lemon. You don't want to pop it. You just want to open it. You just want to vent it. So you want to get those two things moving. And that gets progressively more difficult to make that diminuendo on that last note. But if you can maintain the discipline to try to make that diminuendo on that last note, it really does force you to pay attention to the speed of your air and the accuracy of how well you're voicing that note. Okay, let's keep going. At this point, I would probably suck on this for another second, so I think I will do that. Let's keep going with the better, and then I'll go to the best section. So I'm looking up to hold this stopper right in the middle. All right, getting closer. And when I'm doing that, I really just let my belly go just completely limp. I'm trying to just be as that's how it works. Let's keep going. We were on A. To make those high diminuendos, you must keep that airstream moving the same way, but inside your mouth, your tongue has to go E. So if this is the aperture of your mouth, right, and your tongue is lolling around in here somewhere, blah, 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 blah. If you change your voicing from saying ah to E, it changes where your tongue is in your mouth. Your tongue goes ah, E up here, and it makes this area where the air is coming out much smaller, and that forces the air. If you're blowing at a regular rate, that actually forces the air to move faster. That's why you have to voice. It's for the air speed. Just like if you took a hose and you pumped a constant stream of water through it, and then you took that aperture and you made it really small, that water would come out so fast and so powerful. That's how you make hoses that work like that and stuff like that, is to constantly reduce the aperture but keep the speed of the water moving behind it at the same rate. It forces the air or the water to move out in a fast and laser-like kind of way, and that's kind of what we're trying to do here. You're on B flat. Almost done with our warm-ups, and then we'll go into our scales, okay? Let's do some scales. Woot, woot, woot. Just gonna swab out my horn real quick. Got a little goofiness. This key right here. All right. Blowing all of that shit. Blowing all of that shit out of that hole right there. There's a little hole. Sometimes when you blow through, of course, you get condensation through the instrument, and it bubbles up in these holes sometimes. That's why you get these weird blah, 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 with clarinet playing sometimes. Okay, so how about some music? Here's what we're working on today. E minor, all day, every day. We turn down the brightness slightly. Okay. So as always, you should do this stuff without a stand. You should try to memorize this stuff as much as possible. Reading your scales is for, shall we say, non-professionals. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is reiterate the work that I did on G major and E natural minor, which is this scale up top. But I'm not going to worry about playing that scale in its entirety. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to play a bunch of modes. I'm going to play 2 octaves at a time, up and down on each scale degree within the key of E natural minor, 1 sharp. Starting on low E. 80 is a nice medium relaxed tempo. 16th notes, looking for the evenness and beauty of the sound throughout. Talking to you guys dries out my reed like crazy. 1, 2. Super easy, right? Yeah, ish, but you really want to keep your mind engaged on being perfectly even all the way up and down as much as you can. Look, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying, okay? And most of it is pretty good, okay? because I'm not thinking about the technique. I'm not thinking about even what the notes are. I know what the notes are here. I'm thinking ba-da-da, da-da-da, ba-da-da, 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 constantly. So, let's put this in context, shall we? We shall. I'm going to go to the second scale here, harmonic minor, raise the 7th scale degree, and start to run it. I'm going to try to put 4 reps per breath here, 2 breaths, so 8 reps of the scale on each at 100, 120, 140, and today our goal is 150 for these scales, which is getting there. Subdivision still on for 100 on the lowest. 1, a 2. Okay, so that augmented second between the C and the D sharp can kind of fuck with your evenness a little bit. But just be religious. Really try to be religious about it. See if you can get away from that. Put it in context. Really be diligent about trying to keep that even. It's hard. 120, subdivision off now. Same thing. We're not looking for speed. It's coming, but looking for evenness and does my sound match all the way up and down? What's my tone like? When I'm blowing correctly, it feels like my air is activating my fingers. I can actually feel all of these vibrations on the inside of the instrument from the air column. So do that. 120. 1, 2. And again. Yeah, a couple of things. One, I hope you guys can see that I'm not straining to go to the high notes. I'm just letting those high notes come on their own. If you're playing well and you're voicing correctly, they need no help whatsoever. So don't give them help. That just adds tension. You don't want that. The other thing is I'm really now concentrating on trying to breathe into that same spot, right, that I was breathing in with my spirometer here. Okay, it really does force you to have to take these deep breaths. So this time I'm going to move to this bottom. I'm going to try to peg it into this bottom thing, which backwards on your thing, so it should say best. I guess it does. Best. Here we go. Oh my God. All right. So that in order to make that happen, I have to expand all of my chest and all of my belly. Okay, so then I'm going to try to send the air out from that same deep place. I'm going to try to take a deep breath just like that before I play this at 140 now. And try to send all of that beautiful air out from the same spot. 1, Actually rushing the metronome slightly. I'll see if I can hold it back, and I'm going to see if I can put 5 reps into this breath because my air is working well. Okay? It's okay to make a mistake. It happens. This is what I'm doing here, right? What are we doing here? We're making these mistakes now so that we don't have to make them when it counts. And I'm not going to give myself a big deal about it, right? I took a moment, laughed, corrected it, put more reps in, made sure that that wasn't something that I didn't practice. Because if you practice the mistakes, they become what you play. Okay? Your hands can only do what you show them. So if you show them the wrong thing over and over again, that's what they'll do. So just show them the right thing. Don't let that habit ingrain itself. Here's our goal. Here's our goal today, 150. Starting to get up there. Still, again, not looking for speed, looking for how even and beautiful the sound is. Cooking with a little bit of gas today, which is nice. Cooking with some gas. Let's move on. Melodic minor we got to take care of now. We're going to go back to 100. Put that subdivision back on. It's going to be hard to rein ourselves in after we've been going at 150, but we can do it. Please, I must insist. C sharp, fork, D sharp. You can do it. I know you can. Okie dokie. Just extrapolate up. Don't do anything different. Same technique. Even, easy. Okay. Not bad. 140. Same thing. Keep it easy. Speed's coming. But think about evenness. And now let's stretch for our goal, 150, okay? Just shake them out, shake them out, shake them out, shake them. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. For like the first 3 or 4 beats of each one of these new reps, my fingers are like, now what do you want me to do? Let's see if I can do that again. Starting to feel pretty decent. I'm really trying to get all those blips out, trying to be totally clean, totally even. At this tempo, something else. 1, 2. Put that away. I'll put that away for today and call that good. Yep. Time for some arpeggios. Leaving off this first note. Who gives a shit? And then I'm going to leave off this articulation for the first part, okay? Just the first bit. So back to 100, back to the subdivision. Take the repeat, take a breath. Take the repeat again. 1, 2. Alright, reed's starting to wear a little bit, but I'm not going to be too concerned with it. Probably switch off after these scales. So 110 now, taking the subdivision off. Now I'm going to throw in the articulation. Slur 2, tongue 1, slur 2, tongue 1, tongue 2, slur 2. 3 different iterations of the tongue 2, slur 2 articulation. That's really the clarinet shorthand for articulating. 110, slur 2, tongue 2 first. 1, 2. fact, I'm gonna, not permanently, just for now, all right. Where did I put my ligature? This is the question. Oh, here it is. All right. So let's see how this reed works. It's not only a different reed, but it's a different kind of reed. I went from a Van Doren V12 to a Van Doren 56 Roulepac. Why not? I find that these vibrate well, but are a little too kind of like, a little too bright for me. But they vibrate pretty well. So 120 now. Whoops. Same thing. Easy and even. I think I could make a more beautiful high E is what I'm going to go for this time. I feel like my E is kind of being cut off. Yeah, you can really feel it internally when things start to turn the corner and start to actually play themselves a little bit. Starts to feel supernatural. Here's our goal for today, 130, okay? Fairly quick, but not too terrible. 1, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to say that's okay. Next, interrupted scale. This pretty much plays as written except for the slide there. There's a slide right here. Let me see. Right? If you have like a different left-hand D sharp key, you could probably do something different. I don't, because I hate those. I'm an old man. I learned how to play on this instrument. I don't have any interest in learning a new key. So, if I'm lazy, I don't care. But look at this. Oh, I'm just scratching my face, aren't I? No, I'm not. I just put some grease on my finger. I'm sure you can't see it, but now there's a small layer of disgusting shit on my pinky. Now there's a little like crevice right here, right? So, like, you know that our skin produces oil and grease just by nature. So here's a little reservoir of it right there. It just looks like you're giving a little scratch. This is a Larry Combs thing. So this really allows you to slide pretty easily. And in this case, you don't just slide like you have to slide diagonally, which makes it a little bit more of a thing. Okay, let me swab through again because I'm getting a little bit of goofiness. Context, please. Back to 100, back to the subdivision. Again, how you subdivide this in your brain is important. You don't want to be slamming down on the downbeats. You want to be arriving at the downbeats. Okay? So you don't want to be thinking... You don't want to be thinking... Right? You want to be thinking... 120 subdivision off, trying to keep the same idea, nice and even, nice and easy. Okay, let's go on 130. Just try to keep it easy and even, okay? We're going to do the same thing. I'm not going to kill myself over that. Here we go. However, now we're getting into the kill myself zone because this is going to get difficult at the tempos I'm going to go for. So let's just see. Let's see if I can just kind of like get there. Decent bass. Now let's try for some hard shit, shall we? Okay, well, you know, those extra reps that I spent on them yesterday are paying off a little bit today. Let's see if I can keep that mojo moving into my goal, 130. Come on, baby. You can do this. Ah. close. That's pretty close. You know, I'm not going to kill myself over teeny tiny little errors. If that was in a concerto, I would obviously spend hours on it. But, you know, look, man, I got stuff to do. But actually, for the most part, I'm pretty pleased with it. Definitely better than yesterday. So it's time to move on to this. Okay, let me take a quick pee break. I shall return in 2 minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. Thank you for your patience. Let's move on to something else. Let's move on to these. These are by Kroepsch. Now I'm going to actually get my music out, because up until now I've been doing all of this off the top of my head, as you should. Here we go. E minor. So the way to work on these is to set your metronome at one tempo and play through. Okay? You see, you start with 16ths, you go into sextuplets, into 32nds, so it gets quite complicated. So I'm going to set the metronome today at 55. Tomorrow I'm going to set it at 60. That puts all your 32nd notes at 16th notes at 120, which is plenty fast. But while we're working on these first 5 that are just 16th notes, you really want to be as diligent as you can about playing completely legato, connecting all the notes, and just being as beautiful as possible. You should play these like you want to win an audition with them, okay? One of my first college teacher, God rest his soul, is dead now. His name is Avram Galper. And he was an old man when he was my teacher, and this was in 1989 was my freshman year of college. And like a lot of young players, I worked on my scales, but I kind of was like, I hated them, and I didn't work on them whenever I could get the opportunity to not work on them. And I kind of played them in a really mechanical kind of way and just kind of thought they were busy work. And Mr. Galper said something to me that stuck with me, and I still remember. He said, you should practice everything as though there's a great master. You're on a stage, you're on a big stage, and there's a great master sitting in the last seat in the balcony, and he wants to hear everything you're doing. So that's what I'm trying to do. Play for that guy, play for, or woman, play for that committee, play for you. I'm trying to be my own great master that I'm playing for. 50, we're just going to move. Super legato, super beautiful. not bad. I liked most of that. Let's keep going. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Yeah. So, it's okay to isolate little things and try to do them better and better, right? This is what we're doing. And also try to finish these things out as a beautiful phrase and a beautiful note. Don't just stop playing. Play it like it's the end of something. 42. Keep the sliver key on for the high notes. Voice high, but don't struggle. Just erase mistakes. It's not a big deal. 43. Bigger intervals here. Keep your air moving throughout. You got to keep your air moving through these big intervals, please. Some of this is doing quite well for me today. Other things I'm pretty happy to just give another look at. No reason to get bent out of shape about small things when you're by yourself. This is what we're doing. We're just getting better. Number 45. Now we leap up to sextuplets. Try to drag. Don't go too fast. Uh, and again, I like this D sharp here with the third finger. E to D sharp is easier for me than doing this for whatever reason. Now, as we move into these 30-second notes, it's really important to just try to keep it easy. It's easy to even rush. You get to these hard things and you want to go fast. Try not to. I might have been able to throw another rep at that, but I don't fucking feel like it right now. All right, here we go. Pardon my French. Numero 48. Keep the staccato notes nice and long. Remember, staccato means separated, not short. Super matter of fact. Is all you need. Nothing too short. Reed's getting a little fatigued, but so am I, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. 49. Keep it slow. Keep it slow. Trying to keep this as good as possible. All the time, every rep. 50. Yup. Let's finish this out with some 30-second work, shall we? Notice how relaxed my left hand is going to be for this on my over the break shit at 51. I'm barely moving my hand. I'm just tilting my wrist just a little bit. Right? I'll just tilt my wrist, tilt my wrist. No, don't move your fingers, tilt your wrist. It's very easy. Let's finish this bad boy out. 52. Only really strange thing here, side G on the high G, and then third finger E flat. Yeah, that's like the boss level at the very end that they put that in there for you. Just in case you were feeling good about yourself, here's a bunch of floppy notes that you can put together. Hey everybody, thanks for showing up again. A little longer today, that's because I did some long tones, but that's okay, right? I think I'll be back later today with some Messiaen for everyone. Ooh, Messiaen, are you sure?